Clickbait! Chill! Vlad, what the heck is happening with you? Why do you compare two seemingly different handhelds? Because we all know that the Retroid Pocket 5 is totally different than its smaller brother, the Retroid Pocket Mini. So what's the point of this whole conversation, you might be asking yourself? Well, I'm glad you asked, my dear nerd. You see, these two are basically identical devices in so many ways, except for probably two things that makes them very different. But if you're like me and you're always chasing performance and as little price as possible in this retro handheld chaos in which we find ourselves in, then you probably cross-compared which one of these two little bad boys you should have gotten. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to throw even more neuroticism on this. And we need to discuss this together, because this has been living rent-free in my mind for God knows how much time. Because you see, my dear nerds, we actually have quite a tragic story here. Do you remember when the Retroid Pocket Mini first launched, and for what seemed like 5 minutes we all paid attention to it, and it was the cool kid on the block and everybody wanted one? You see, in a parallel universe, that was when this handheld was most popular. All the girl handhelds really wanted to be with this little protagonist of ours. People were like, ooh, this is such a nice D-pad, this is such a nice form factor, the ergonomics are great, it's so grippy, I have access to the left stick without getting cramps. People loved this. Then its more beautiful identical twin came along and we were all like, ew. And I think this is freaking tragic. Imagine having an identical twin, but your freaking identical twin ends up being a Jason Momoa 6.7 type of figure, while this other one, this one, well, this one's sort of like me. It tries to have a lot of personality, tries to be funny and comfortable and pleasant in the hands, but at the same time, it is forced to always live in the shadow of a society that values, Jason Momoas. And there is nothing wrong with Jason Momoa. I love that guy. Objectively speaking, I wouldn't mind going to the sea and to talk to Jason Momoa about freaking handhelds. That's how nice that guy looks. But alas, we're talking about handhelds here, and I truly think that both of them have pros and cons which need to be highlighted. You might have one, but you might not know that you might also want the other, or vice versa, or you might have both, and this video will help you finally want to get rid of one of them, because if you sell one of them, then you can feed your obsession with handhelds even more when the next one comes along. So, let's judge these two seemingly identical twins by what I call the VLP-FH, or Vlad's Love Pyramid for handhelds. And we have three main pillars to the VLP-FH. One is the screen, the other is the performance, and last but not least, the Pocketability. And we will give scores for both of them on all three of these categories to see which one is better and which one can, win the Vlad's love part of the equation. Unfortunately for the Retroid Pocket Mini, I always root for the underdog. That's why I love Mio in these turbulent handheld times. But I have to tell this little handheld that it's an ugly piece of poop compared to its marvelous little brother here. In terms of screen, just look at this, my dear nerds. There's no contest here. For screen, we'll give the Retroid Pocket 5 RP5 5, how much should we give it? 4 stars, okay? And at the end we're gonna count the stars. In terms of performance, they both get absolutely nothing because they have almost freaking identical specs. You know, they both have the Snapdragon 865. Well, actually, you know what? This is not fair. We should give the Retroid Pocket 5 here 1 star because this one has 8 gigs of RAM and the Retroid Pocket Mini actually has 6 gigs of RAM. So by now, apparently the Retroid Pocket 5, aka the more beautiful, more successful, identical twin of the two, seems to be humiliating the first comer. You know, the Retroid Pocket Mini, which was the first to capture our hearts and the first that was announced by Retroid. So, oh no, is there hope for our beloved protagonist here? Or is the more beautiful identical twin set to take all of the stage away from the Mini, to the point where we're like, where the heck did the Mini even go? But you know what? Nobody cares. He won't even be invited at the prom. You know, he should be there with the rest of the ugly handhelds. But wait for it, because the Mini makes a strong comeback when it comes to pocketability. Because, my dear nerds, this is very important for you to make this distinction. Pocketability does not mean, and I repeat, it does not mean portability. Everything is portable if you try hard enough. The Steam Deck is portable. You know, you can buy baggy pants and you can put the Steam Deck in your back pocket and look like a freak, but at the same time, it would be pocketable, even though it's a freaking chungus of a computer. So between these two, there's absolutely no contest. The Retroid Pocket Mini is just perfect for the pocket. You know, it's quite ironic to me that only certain Retroid Pockets are actually true to their name and are actually pocketable. And the Retroid Pocket Mini is certainly one of them. This simply slides in your pocket. You can see the sticks, they don't really protrude as much, and they aren't really that much taller than the D-pad itself, which means that this goes in the pocket quite nicely, despite the fact that it has these little horns at the back for ergonomics. By contrast, the Retroid Pocket 5 is immense compared to what people usually put in their pockets. It's way bigger than a phone, way thicker than a phone, also has these bumps on the back, but because of its size, it kind of sticks out, you know, and I don't want you to misunderstand. It is pocketable. Like I said, you can make it work. You can actually carry it around in a pocket. But remember my freaking Steam Deck in a baggy pocket example. You can make everything pocketable if you try freaking hard enough. My point is that this feels natural in the pocket, whereas the Retroid Pocket 5, well, I would rather keep this in a backpack realistically, or somewhere where, in case you're like me and you're just a bit more big-boned like Cartman, then you won't want to ever put this in your back pocket. Whereas this, this is such a breeze to carry, my dear nerds. It's a very good travel buddy, this one. So, when it comes to pocketability, the RP Mini actually gets 3.5 stars, I would say. But oh no, we forgot about the secret option here, the eye of the pyramid. You know, the one which once we discover it, the 1% invites us to be part of their club. And that, my dear nerds, is nothing else, none other than freaking ergos. And when it comes to ergonomics, it's simply not a contest, and the Retroid Pocket Mini wins hands down. and I'm gonna explain to you why. I want you to see the button placement here and the distance of the sticks compared to the edge of the handheld. You have way more space on the Mini than you do on the Retroid Pocket 5, and this is immensely important when it comes to reachability. You see, just like with the Retroid Pocket 5, your fingers tend to rest between these two humps right here, but you also have way more freedom with your thumbs when it comes to either accessing the sticks or going to the D-pad. You feel no cramps, you don't hate yourself, you don't hate your hobby, and you don't hate the nostalgia that you feel when you hold this in your hand. Simply put, the ergonomics of the Mini is something, in my own humble freaking opinion, something that was perfected. It's one of the most comfortable handhelds out there, and the transition, because this is important, the transition between D-pad and stick is one that doesn't really cause discomfort. And this is very important when the sticks, especially the left one, is at the bottom. You see, by comparison, and I mentioned this in previous videos as well, you have good ergonomics on the Retroid Pocket 5 when you use the D-pad. For D-pad centric games, you actually have a very, very comfortable position and ergonomics here. You can play for hours like this with the D-pad. But the problem arises when you need to use the stick, because, and look at my wrist, you need to use the wrist to gain some distance between the tip of your thumb and the stick. This will quickly become a natural movement that you might not even realize you're doing when you play with the 5. So my solution to this was to still hold the Retroid Pocket 5 in the same D-pad optimized position, but you would handle the left stick with the middle of your thumb. Look at my thumb here. If you were to put the middle of the thumb on the stick because it's concave, and this actually facilitates this, then you would be able to, come on, turn around. You would be able to play with the left stick while also maintaining that D-pad centric ergonomics and position that is basically amazing with the Retroid Pocket 5. So, to summary, this is freaking horrible, this is weird as heck, but something that you can get used to, and eventually you can play the Retroid Pocket 5 with decent ergos once you learn to use the middle of your thumb as a sort of anchor for the concaveness of this left stick. If you don't do this, well, you might either have to buy ergonomic grips or be ready to not be able to play this more than half hour at a time, simply because you would do this a lot with your hand and it quickly tires you out. So for the ergonomics, the Retroid Pocket Mini actually gets 3 stars more. So let's pretend like we know math now and do this calculation. The screen is, well, hands down a Retroid Pocket 5 win, and we gave it 4 freaking stars and 1 star for performance because of the RAM. So the Retroid Pocket 5 gets 2, 4, 5 stars. Okay. And the Retroid Pocket Mini, oh my god, what do we have here? 3.5 stars, I think. And another 3 for ergonomics, 6.5 stars. Holy poop! The Retroid Pocket Mini technically wins the rational argument because, you know, it scores a lot of points with the Pocketability and the portability and the ergonomics, but this won't help it because the world is not fair And nothing matters in an irrational world, my dear nerds. The Retroid Pocket Mini, capable as it is, still gets a wedgie because it's no Jason Momoa and it's not 6.7 and it doesn't have this amazing screen that the Retroid Pocket 5 has. And this is and this is the sad state of events because, you know, the Retroid Pocket 5 by itself, it can be manufactured out of buffalo poop and it would still be chosen because of this beautiful screen. Unfortunately, we live in a world where aesthetics matter and where a very good OLED screen can make a handheld be forgiven for way more other faults like ergonomics and pocketability and so on and so forth. So, just like in real life, it's not fair. I don't think it's fair. I am frustrated with this verdict. This little guy tried so hard when it was released, but history is written by the cool and the pretty. So when its prettier identical brother came, well, the fact of the matter is that this one got all the love. You know, it didn't have to try so hard in life, it didn't have to try to win your heart, it didn't have to do freaking jumping jacks for your love like this one. It just appeared and everybody was like, oh my god, you're amazing, I want you in my hands, I want to play with this beautiful handheld. And that, my dear nerds, is the story of prettiness and vanity and shallowness and how we're all to blame because we all love what's pretty, even though sometimes it's okay to like this, it's okay to remind ourselves that something needs to be loved or should be loved for its personality as well. The Retroid Pocket Mini, don't get me wrong, is a handheld full of personality. It's a companion, it's a buddy. It can be there for you on your journeys, and when you would pick it up, it would make you smile and you would feel a connection with this little guy. Whereas, in my personal opinion, its bigger brother, the Retroid Pocket 5, is something that I wouldn't really feel as comfortable being so out and about with it. You know, like I said, it's not really a pocket handheld, it's a portable handheld. Whereas, for me at least, it's important that something is a pocket handheld as well. The Mini lives in the same category as the Mio Mini Plus and the Mio Mini and the Trim UI Brick in terms of pocketability, and of course the Anbernic RG40XX-H and even to an extent the RG406H, but I wouldn't call that as pocketable because it has bigger sticks. Just to wrap this video out, society is shallow, we are we are part of the problem. But we shouldn't apologize. This is an amazing handheld. Its little brother there needs to know its place, you know, get a wedgie, develop better intellect, develop a sense of humor, have a higher, better, funnier personality than its prettier brother, and everything will balance itself out in the universe, you know? It is what it is. So, this is all from me, my dear nerds. I wanted to have this chat with you. I think I bullied the Retroid Pocket Mini a bit. I hope that's not the case. But, you know, I love them both, and you're gonna have links in my description to both. But if you're gonna ask me which one of these I recommend, well, depends. Do you want pocketability, or do you want something that you are naturally attracted to when it comes to handhelds? I think you know the answer, you know? We are a society and we are not made out of wise elders that transcend beauty. So yeah, this video is awful, the moral of the story. is freaking depressing. But it is what it is, my dear nerds. That's why I want to move in a cabin in the middle of the woods, but I digress. I love you very much. Which I would recommend. The Retroid Pocket 5, of course. But if you have the 5 and you want something more pocketable, it's simply soothing to have something in the same family. You know? I just want to mention this. I sort of get a cool kind of satisfaction when both of these are basically from the same family. I don't know why. The fact that design-wise and specs-wise they are so related, I just love this. That's why I bought the Iron Odin 2 Portal. People can tell me that they are different companies, but no, they aren't. Have you seen the design of it? And I will be waiting to add it to my collection as the even bigger brother of these two. But this is enough from me, my dear nerds. Let me know if you liked this chat. It's kind of a free-flowing chat, kind of a me talking things that might seem, nonsensical, but at the end of the day, I really hope you had as much fun as I did with this. So, see you in the next one, my dear nerd. I'm out.